that's still an issue that we have. In today's environment, that's an important issue. The issue of wealth, and how you deal with it, how you deal with money, and how much should pastors make, and that sometimes becomes an issue, I guess, in many churches. But we're still dealing with those same issues.
Yeah, that's true. Any other question, comments?
It shows that even in the midst of problems, controversy, God raises up his people to stir things up and hopefully help the church get back to where it belongs.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Can I just clarify something?
Sure.
So Jerome did his translation into Latin around 300, called the Vulgate, considered vulgar, so it was the common people's language. But then by the time we roll around to 11 or 1200, you couldn't translate into the common people's language, but Latin was a holy language.
Yeah, because you see, in language it changes. What he did in the 4th century, you come to 10th, 11th century. You try to read books that are written in English 800 years ago.
I'm saying from the perspective of the Roman Catholic Church, what was vulgar and language became a holy language over 500 or 600 years?
Yeah, I believe the real reason that the Roman Catholic Church was opposing the translation into common language was the issue of control. Yeah. So they don't want you to go and read the book of Ephesians that tells you that you're saved by grace of God through faith in Jesus Christ and not by works. They want you to be dependent upon them. So I think that's a real issue of control.
Most of you go through all of history, all the dictatorships and you name it, issue. It always revolves around control. Man always wants to control.
Next module, we will get to it. I mean, they will burn people at the stake just because they translated the Bible to the common language of people. Just for that. That's a crime. Well, in their view, because it was a threat to their control, their power. And what it's interesting now, I'm going ahead of myself. The Waldensian, they were the pre-reformers. And you can see that, one thing that was happening in all these things that was going on, you had the Crusader Wars, and, Dr. Jones was right. I mean, you think that it's a horrible situation, but I wanted to mention that maybe, I don't know how much time, maybe after the break more. Even during the Crusader, one of the positive things was it brought the scholars in Europe in contact with the scholars in Middle East. You see, then many of the texts of the Greek texts, the works of Aristotle, even some of the early manuscripts of the New Testament in Greek were kept in the Middle East, even under Muslim leadership. This is you have to understand the situation with Islam. What we are facing in the 20th century is the political Islam. And we see, nobody denies the problem and all the issue with terrorism and what's going on in the world. But at the same time, if you go throughout the history of Islam and the connection between Christianity and number of Muslim scholars, they were Christians who went to the Islamic countries, studied under Islamic countries, and appreciated that. One of them was Gerhard, and that they brought those texts from Greek back to Europe, and that started a movement of scholasticism, going back to the text and studying the Greek text. Waldensian was one of them. The whole thing is about Peter Waldo started that he wanted the New Testament in his own language. Scholasticism was a text-based movement. And when you start reading the Bible, lots of things happens. Our minds gets illuminated. And then he started opposing the Catholic Church. So you see all these silver lining going on. And And the seed for the decline of papacy, you see, has been planted even before the reformers. We don't have a whole lot of time to start right now. Why don't we take 10 minutes break and please come back by 7:25. Go ahead.
You have to, of course, do the laws. You have to look them out. If you go to this website, you have to go to